everyone, this is Jira from Plant Corner. Long time no see. Today I want to talk about philodendrons. You can see all the philodendrons surrounding me right now. Most of them can be categorized into 4 different types. The first one is trailing philodendrons. So these guys will grow smaller leaves as they trail down. Another type is crawling philodendron, plants that creep along the forest floor like this gloriosum. The next type is climbing philodendron. This type grow bigger leaves as they get to climb up the tree. Their arrowroots start absorbing more water and nutrients from the rain, so they grow bigger and longer leaves like this Patriciae. Without the pole for them to grab on though, you will get smaller and smaller leaves. So if you get a climbing philodendron, do make sure that you get a moss pole for them to mimic the environment that they came from. And lastly, we have philodendron that grow compact. They won't get super duper tall unless you don't give it enough light and they start stretching. So let's talk about light. Plenty of bright but indirect light. Some philodendron can tolerate lower light than others. Velvet leaf philodendron like verrucosum, micans, or trailing philodendron, these guys can tolerate low light better than other philodendron. If your philodendrons are not getting enough light, they will start growing smaller and smaller leaves. And if you have a variegated philodendron, the leaf will come out smaller and smaller with less variegation. If you don't give them enough light, the first part that will brown and die off is the part that is variegated. Give them a little more light so that they can maintain the variegation. For water, we tend to let the soil dry out slightly in between, except for velvet leaves like Philodendron gloriosum. This one has been a little bit underwater, so they shown the sign right away. The edge of the leaf started to brown and yellow, so that's the sign of underwatering. Some philodendrons that I noticed can tolerate underwatering pretty well is Philodendron billetiae. So this one is dry out almost completely, but you can barely see from the leaves. And also Philodendron snowdrift. Basically, philodendrons that grow bushy or philodendron that trails, this guy can tolerate underwatering pretty well and they're quite forgiving. Philodendron with velvet leaves, fuzzy petioles, or thin leaves are the ones that you might have to keep your eyes on them and water them a little more often. The sign of overwatering, it will have spots on the leaves because the cell has bursted from too much water. You can notice if you overwater, you will get those dots on the leaves. Let's talk about humidity level. So while most philodendron will do just fine in your apartment, I do notice that they grow faster and more robust if given higher humidity level. Now, if you don't have a humid space, you can use the humidity tray in your apartment to help them, especially in winter time when the heaters turn on. You don't want the air to be too dry because this guy came from the rainforest and the humidity in the rainforest is usually 60% and above at all times. For potting medium, while I have seen philodendron grow in regular soil, I noticed that the roots are happiest when you put in something along the line of a chunky aroid mix because a lot of them climb up the tree, so they don't like their roots to be suffocated or growing in dense soil. So the roots will be thicker and more robust, and the leaves will in turn become healthier and bigger as well. Philodendrons are quite easy to root and propagate it. That's why they're very, very popular. You could just cut below the node and then you can stick it in water in order for the roots to grow. Once the roots grow about this much, you can put it in moss or in soil for them to keep growing from there. If you have variegated philodendron, even though the leaves is not variegated, as long as the stem is variegated, you might be able to still get a variegated plant from it. Another substrate that I really like to propagate my philodendron in is stratum. I find that compared to water, the plant roots so much faster in stratum, and this plant I actually saved from root rot. This variegated billetiae, I got it a while ago, and when it was delivered to me, all the roots were rotted. So the leaves keep dying one by one, even though I leave it in water. So I decided to start over, remove all the leaves but one, and put it in hydrogen peroxide mixture mixed with water for 15 minutes. And then I plant them in fluostratum. You can see that it grows really well in fluostratum and has put out 2.5 new leaves already since then. Now that the temperature is cooling down a little bit, you have to get your plants ready for winter. You will notice that we have less amount of sunlight during the day the plants will might not grow many new leaves compared to the growing season. So don't panic if that happens. The other thing is you want to make sure that your plants are not close to your heater. If there's any area in your home that the temperature tends to fluctuate, like next to the window if you plan to open the window, or in front of the heater, the plant will not like that change in temperature very much. So try to move them away from the heater or cold drafted window. For pests, what you want to be careful about for philodendron, especially the velvet leaves one, is they get spider mites pretty easily. So do spray them with insecticide once a week or clean the leaves ever so often. For philodendron with thicker leaves, I noticed that they do get thrips sometimes. You want to make sure, again, clean the leaves ever so often. I made another video about pest care that I'm gonna link up here as well. So that's all about philodendron for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you still have any more questions, you can leave them in the comment down below, or let me know what is your favorite type of philodendron in the comment. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!